Throughout the NBA regular season, when the NBA was setting record low television ratings, what was the excuse that we heard from the media? Ratings across all television are down. It's not just the NBA. It has nothing to do with the league being full of social justice warriors. That's not it. By the time the playoffs arrived, the media had come to the realization that they were out of excuses. Excuses alone were not enough to cover up for the fact that the NBA was rapidly declining in popularity. So, what did they do? Well, the media, they just started lying about the NBA's ratings. That wasn't a full blown lie, they just weren't giving you the whole truth. It was a lie by omission. They compared ratings to 2020, which set record lows across the NBA. But even then, some playoff games in 2021 were lower than 2020. Now, even though the media would not admit it, LeBron James leading the NBA down the destructive path of wokeness tanked the league's popularity and their ratings. And we now have further proof of that. Even though ratings are declining across television, the NFL is seeing double-digit increases this season. And now, the ratings have been made available for the start of the MLB playoffs, and we're seeing increases in baseball as well. The only league not increasing their ratings is the NBA. Last week, the Red Sox and Yankees played in a winner-take-all wild card game. This is the most popular rivalry in Major League Baseball. You would expect a single elimination game between New York and Boston to draw big numbers, and it did. Damn near 8 million people watched what ended up being a boring game. It was the largest audience for Major League Baseball on ESPN in 23 years. It was a 61% increase over the wild card game in 2019. Of course, it nearly quadrupled the wild card round last year, but as we all know, 2020 was an outlier for all sports. Now you may be thinking, this is just a one-off. It's Red Sox Yankees, the two premier teams in Major League Baseball. Well, Dodgers Cardinals on TBS, almost 7 million people. It was the second largest audience for a wild card game on TBS, and it propelled the network to the #1 spot last Saturday night. Yes, a Major League Baseball game on cable television drew a bigger audience than Saturday Night Live, which, by the way, Saturday Night Live is another thing that has been completely ruined by social justice and woke politics. SNL's been declining for years in terms of being funny, but they still had some good stuff on there here and there. But now, SNL is pure trash. It is cringe, painful to watch. I actually feel bad for the people on the show. The writing is terrible, the acting's even worse. They don't take any risk anymore. If Joe Biden were president in the 90s, he would be getting crucified every week on Saturday Night Live, but not in 2021. Oh, no, 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 no. We have to protect Uncle Joe. Late night comedy is dead. There's a reason Greg Gutfeld is #1 on late night on Fox News. Fox News, and he's #1. Greg Gutfeld on cable is drawing a larger audience than Fallon, Colbert, and Kimmel on network television. Greg Gutfeld's okay. He has his moments. I wouldn't call him a comedian, but the reason he draws a larger audience than the other three is because they are woke. Comedy and wokeness do not mix. But anyway, let's get back to Major League Baseball. The wild card round in baseball outdrew every NBA playoff game until the NBA Finals. Now just think about that for a second. The opening round in baseball, a sport that has been dying the last few years. The advent of technology has hurt baseball more than any other sport. Attention spans are short. Baseball is a painfully slow game. There's no way to speed it up. Of the big three professional sports, Major League Baseball has the oldest audience. Average fan almost 60 years old. And even with all that working against them, the opening round of the playoffs are drawing a bigger audience than every round of the NBA playoffs. Every one of them. The only game in the NBA that came close was Game 7 between the Bucks and the Nets. Opening round of the NBA playoffs, they were averaging, 2 million people a game? It just shows you how far the NBA has fallen. Now, while this is great news for Major League Baseball, there are still some concerns going forward. For one, Major League Baseball is god awful when it comes to marketing. That's why it was such big news when the Field of Dreams game was a success. It was the first time in recent memory that Major League Baseball had successfully marketed and promoted something and it actually worked. I'm sitting at the bar today at the steakhouse during lunch, working on my computer, talking to my friend that works there at the bar, and an older couple comes in, sits about 3 seats down from me at the bar. These people had to be in their 70s. The older man asked my friend to turn the TV to TBS, said he came in to watch the Braves game. When he said that, the first thing that came to my mind was this is the problem with Major League Baseball. It's 12:30, 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, and you're airing Game 3 of the NLDS? I understand baseball has an older audience and a large portion of their fan base can watch the playoffs at 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. But Rob Manfred has been trying to appeal to a younger audience, and rightfully so. He has been trying to bring people my age and younger back to baseball. Kind of hard to do that when major playoff games are on Monday afternoon. Most of you guys are at work. Not only that, they'll turn around and start the other NLDS game at 9:30 on the East Coast. Game's over after midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Major League Baseball is terrible scheduling these playoff games. It doesn't help that they had to work around the NFL and college football on weekends, but during the week, television belongs to you. The NBA hadn't started yet. NFL doesn't start until Thursday. You have 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, unopposed. And you decide 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon is the ideal time for a playoff game? It doesn't make any sense. Although these ratings are an improvement for Major League Baseball, they are still nowhere near as popular as they used to be. Let's use the Red Sox and Yankees again for an example. The last time both of these teams faced off against each other in an elimination game in the playoffs was 2003-2004. Game 7 both years. I believe 04, I think that was the year that the Red Sox were down 0-3, came back and won 4 straight, made the World Series. Game 7 in 2003, 28 million. 2004, over 31 million. Basically, in 20 years, 17 years, Major League Baseball has lost 75% of its audience. Ratings for the World Series have been in decline for over a decade, 15 years really. When I was growing up, it was common for the World Series to average 25, 30 million viewers. 2018, 2019, 14 million. Since 2004, the only time the World Series averaged over 20 million people a game was back in 2016 when the Cubs won it. Major League Baseball still has a long way to go. I didn't like the transition they made this year from Fox Sports to Bally Sports for the regional games. Thought that was a bad move and it showed in the ratings. Regional games declined across baseball this year. But this is a great start for the playoffs. We'll see if they can maintain this momentum. We'll see if they can keep it up. It's going to be interesting to see how the NBA does this season. Regular season for the NBA starts here in a couple of weeks, and the media has completely turned on the league. I can't believe 5% of NBA players refuse to get vaccinated. Kyrie Irving is a menace to society. LeBron James, he should be pressuring fellow players to get the jab. The media has completely turned their back on the NBA, which, to be honest, that could be a good thing. I think some people have softened their stance on Kyrie and LeBron. They found common ground with them. Not all, but some. People who detested them for going woke, some appreciate the fact that they're actually standing up for civil liberties when it comes to the vaccine. Now, will this help in terms of television ratings? Hell, I don't know. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. Kyrie Irving can't even play home games in Brooklyn because he won't get the vaccine, so it might not help in terms of ratings. But we are going to cover the NBA ratings throughout the season here on the channel, just like we did last year. But for now, give me your thoughts on the ratings for Major League Baseball. Do you think they can maintain this momentum through the playoffs? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.